Hello, my lovely students. I warmly welcome you to yet another engaging literary discourse with me. In our class today, we shall be looking at elements of drama. For elements of drama, it's actually a broad topic. So I want you to follow me as we look at some basic objectives that we'll be looking at in this particular discourse, which include explaining what element of drama is. You also identify some of the elements of drama. Then lastly, you should be able to discuss these identified elements of drama. Now, talking about elements of drama, the question is, what is element of drama? It is very important for you to understand that when we talk about elements of drama, we are talking about the unique peculiarities, what makes elements of drama what it is. Now, first on our list is characters. Now, characters are fictitiously created by the writer. The characters are very unique because they speak the mind of the writer. And it is also through the character that we are able to get every detailed information that we need to get. Then secondly, we shall be looking at what plot is. Now, plot in literature entails the chronological movement of any dramatic work of art from the beginning through the middle down to the end of the literary work of art. Another element we need to take a deep look at is Dos Machina. Dos Machina is derived from the Greek language and it entails the importation of the gods in a dramatic work of art. Now, outside Duas Machina, the next element we'll be looking at is tragic flaw. Now, we'll talk about tragic flaw. We're talking about those shortcomings in the life of the protagonist that brings about his downfall. Then, very quickly, we'll be looking at the next element, which is peripetia. Peripetia simply is the sudden reversal in the fortune of a character in a dramatic work of art. I take that again. The sudden reversal of the fortune of a character in the dramatic work of art. Conflict, rightly, is the next element we are going to be looking at. And now, for conflict, it is the disagreement between characters in any dramatic work of art. Without conflict in a literary work, the work will be termed flat. So, conflict is very, very essential. Then, we shall be also looking at climax as an element. Climax is the height of the tension. Okay, so when we have conflict, it builds to a crescendo. So that height that the conflict builds to is referred to as climax. Then the next element we shall be looking at is resolution. Now, when the conflict builds, it gets to that height, that crescendo, then there is always need for there to be a resolution to the conflict. So, resolution as an element of drama is mundane and is very unique. Then the next element we'll be looking at is the theme. The thematic occupation of any dramatic work of art is the message, the inherent message that the writer, the dramatist, or the playwright intends on passing to the audience or the general public. Now we have what is known as Bildungsroman. Bildungsroman is that stage, that growth that the writer, that the character has passed through in the literary work of art, from the beginning of birth down to death. Now, it is important for us to understand that tragedy as an element of drama is very, very important. But especially when we are talking about the Greek theater. Tragedy is that literary work of art, that dramatic work of art that entails the ending that does not occur well to perceived readers. Then we also have the tragic comedy and also comedy coming together For comedy, it's a literary work of art that ends on a good note, while tragicomedy has to do with that element of drama that infuses both elements of comedy and tragedy together. That leads us to another element known as the action. Now, action is a unique element in drama because it is a distinguishing element that differentiates drama from other genres of literature. So, the action is the very essential element that gives credence to a dramatic work of art. Now, outside that, we'll be looking at the protagonist. For the protagonist, he is the main character in a literary work of art. The protagonist can also be seen as that good man, that character that everybody wants to be associated with. Outside the protagonist, we also have what is known as the antagonist. Now, the antagonist is in a perpetual conflict with the protagonist. The antagonist, also known as the villain, is that character that fights, has an ideological difference with the protagonist. Now, catharsis is an element of drama we will be looking at. When we talk about catharsis, we're talking about that emotional outbursts, that empathy that we will have for a character in any dramatic work of art. Now, we'll also be looking at dramatic irony. Now, the question is, what is dramatic irony as an element of drama? Dramatic irony is a situation whereby the audience have an inkling into what is happening in the life of a character. Meanwhile, that character is oblivious of this. Now, for prompter as an element of drama, the prompter is very, very essential in a dramatic work because he is the person that reminds the character on stage of any line whatsoever that they had forgotten while on stage. It's also important that we look at chorus as an element of drama. Now, when we talk about chorus, we're not actually talking about music. Chorus are a select group of persons who render through their rendition, they give essence to what is happening on stage. Now, we also have what is known as aside as a dramatic element. Now, for aside, the character on stage talk to the audience, okay? And when they render their rendition on stage, the fellow characters on stage are oblivious of what they are saying. Now, we also have suspense as a dramatic element. Without suspense, any dramatic work of art would not have its essence. So suspense is that tension that is infused in a dramatic work of art, giving apprehension to the reader. Then we have prologue as a dramatic element. The prologue is that aforementioned information that the writer tries to pass across that definitely the reader or the audience will eventually come to meet at the end of the day. Outside prologue, we have the epilogue. Now, just like the prologue, the epilogue comes at the end of the dramatic work of art. So it's just like recapitulating everything that needs to be known in the dramatic work of art. Okay, then we also have an element known as foreshadowing. Now, for foreshadowing, just like the prologue, but in this case, foreshadowing gives a predetermined information, okay, to the audience or the reader. So for foreshadowing, it gives you an information of what to expect in the literary work of art. Without the audience in a literary work of art, then the drama is not complete because the audience, they are the final consumers of any dramatic piece of work. So the audience are very, very important in the dramatic work. Now, we also have what is known as stage directions. For stage directions, they gives us definitely the movement of every character on stage. So the stage directions are very, very important. If a character is to move to one point or the other, that's the responsibility of the stage direction. Now, the stage is the place where the characters stay to perform, to carry out their performance in a dramatic work of art. The stage is the final place where the audience gets to interpret the roles that have been given to them. Now, monologue is one dramatic element that is very important we consider. Now, for monologue is a situation where a single character gets on stage to deliver some lines without interacting with fellow characters. Okay, now then we outside monologue we have what is referred to as dialogue. Now, dialogue is that conversation between two or more characters on stage. Dialogue is very essential part because it builds to give us what is referred to as the action in a dramatic work of art. Another element that we'll be looking at is the closet drama. Then we'll talk about the closet drama is that dramatic work of art that is not intended to be carried out on stage. The essence of the closet drama is for a solitary reader to just read it and get done with it. Now we have the mime. The mime is also known as the dumb drama. When we talk about mime, we're talking about rendering a dramatic action on stage void of language. Okay, so the language is the body. You are not voicing the your action while on stage. So, my dear students, I believe this lesson has enriched your knowledge in literature, most especially in dramatic elements, thanks to this thorough exposition of the various elements of drama. For your assignment, I want you to do a critical work. One, you have to explain the phrase element of drama. Two, identify some elements of drama. Then lastly, you have to discuss any 10 elements of drama. So I'll see you in our next class. Take care and have a blessed day. Thank you.